Okay, we are on. Video's going. Hey guys, sorry I had to take a couple of days off. I was busy with doing some stuff, but now I'm back for another video. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Um, I know the big news this week, starting last night, Monday, on Monday Night Football, was obviously the Buffalo Bills football player Damar Hamlin going into his cardiac arrest after a tackle he made on the Cincinnati Bengals player T. Higgins. To me, I watched the replay probably about 20 times on YouTube, and to me it just looked like a normal tackle. I mean, if I could do a reenactment of Damar, he just kind of absorbed T. Higgins. T. Higgins, had the ball and he was trying to get away, obviously, probably to score a touchdown. They collided with each other. They both went down to the ground, but nothing. It was nothing like vicious. It was not a vicious play. Then next thing you know, Damar Hamlin stands up in about 2 to 3 seconds, maybe 3 seconds after standing up. You could just tell his legs buckled, and he just goes back, cardiac arrest. Everyone else that knows the story obviously knows, what happened. He's still currently in the hospital in Cincinnati, University of Cincinnati Medical Center. So it's actually not too far from here, about an hour from here where I live. Anyways, the whole thing was obviously very, very, very tragic. Hopefully, Damar lives. Hopefully, he doesn't, pass away from it or come back, conscious, but with brain damage or some kind of other damage. Hopefully, he makes a full recovery, and maybe he could even play football again. You never know. I mean, he's only, I believe, let me check. Damar, he's only 24, so he'll be 25 this March. And maybe he can make a full recovery again. But anyways, guys, this video is kind of not exactly about the Damar Williams and his incident on the football field. As tragic as it is, this video is a little bit more about the reflection of incidents like what happened to Damar last night on Monday night, and how our society as a whole has just gotten so fragile, really fragile and soft. The people have just gotten so much softer than what they used to be. And I'm directly speaking about ESPN and the major sports networks that cover, like, not just sports, but just mainstream, networks, Fox, FS1, ESPN, ESPN2, all the ESPN networks and affiliates, NBC, Disney, all of these major networks that are all affiliated with one another and connected to each other. I just feel like we've gotten really soft. If you watch the coverage on ESPN and all your major networks last night about and today about the Damar Hamlin injury, cardiac arrest episode, all you've been hearing is so many of these big talking heads with like these major networks talking about how football needs to be either banned for good, completely permanently, just abolish the sport, or basically turn it into like touch football or flag football where you just tag the guy. And it's like, oh wow, these people are really taking things overboard into a whole new stratosphere. Did you know in the entire history of professional NFL football, and it's been around like what, 70, 80, 90 years. Professional football at the NFL level has been around a long time. Did you know in all the years of football, only one person in the entire history of the sport has died at the professional level on during a game? Even this Damar Hamlin kid that just, had his incident last night, he still has yet to die. I mean, he's still alive, and some people think, he's going to pull through. So there's only been one death in football, and it was way back in 1971. I think it's Chuck something, I forget his full name, for the Detroit Lions. Had a blood clot, and he collapsed. I think he was on the sidelines talking to one of the coaches, and he had like a clot issue, and he died. But they don't even. I don't even think it was football related. It was just bad health, bad genetics. He had bad genes. He had a clot, and he died. And he just happened to be at a football game. So all these people that are like completely jumping the gun and like, oh man, football's the worst sport. It's the most dangerous sport. I just don't think people understand football. If it's played right and played in its purest form, the guys are actually following the rules, following what the officials say. Football's really not as dangerous as people think it is. As long as you're not illegally hitting these guys, leading with the helmet, smashing your helmet into their face and stuff like that. The game of football, basic tackling 101, grabbing and wrapping up the guy and bringing him down, that's not a dangerous football move. You're just grabbing them and restraining them. Now, some of the tackles can be a little bit dangerous, but most of the tackles are just basically grabbing a hold of your opponent like a sumo wrestler does and controlling your opponent by moving him down. I don't think most football moves in general, different tackles, different blocks, I don't think is necessarily really dangerous. I could think of a lot of other activities in life that are way more dangerous than football. Boxing, MMA, fighting, there's just so many, there's so many other sports that are just extremely dangerous. Or what about these extreme sports, like what, mountain climbing, climbing up cliffs, loggers, guys that literally cut trees down. I know that's not a sport, but that's a way more dangerous activity, career, profession than a football player. Way more dangerous. I don't know. I think people have gotten way too sensitive. It's just my opinion, and this has nothing to do with Damar Hamlin, the poor kid, and his parents. I'm sure are upset. 24 years old. I'm sure it's terrible, obviously, for them, and this is definitely not about him. Hopefully he makes a full recovery. One, survives. Two, doesn't have like brain damage or anything. So obviously safety and health comes before anything else. But I just feel like a lot of these people that have been like waiting and waiting and waiting to try finding something to attack the sport of football are like rejoicing right now. They're like, yay, we got another reason to bash the sport of football. And I just think it's really lame. It's really tacky. It's really petty that they would pick an incident like this that really didn't even have anything to do with football. If you watch the play, it was just a normal tackle. Did it jar him a little bit? Maybe, the contact directly here to his chest. Could that have caused the whole thing? Yeah, it probably had some kind of an effect on it. But that would have happened to him if he was in his backyard wrestling his brother. If he was in his backyard wrestling his brother like that, he would have probably still had a heart attack. Because clearly there was something wrong with him and his heart and his condition in some way. Any kind of physical activity probably would have gave that dude a heart attack. He just happened to be playing the sport of football when it happened. But like if he would have been playing basketball or boxing or wrestling with his friend or brother in his backyard, he probably would have had the same incident, the same outcome would have probably been, happened. He probably would have gone into cardiac arrest. He just so happened to be playing the sport of football when this happened. That's all. He happened to be playing the sport. Just like that dude 52 years ago in 1971 that died of blood clots for the Detroit Lions football. And he's, by the way, like I said, the only player recorded in history to die during a football game. And he wasn't even in the middle of playing. I think he just collapsed while talking to one of the trainers or something. Anyways, non-related to football, not like I said, not even related to the sport, but people use these incidences to target the sport of football and, basically bash the sport, hate on the sport, and to further their agenda. These people, a lot of it's about money. I know a lot of these guys want NFL players, professional football players, to get paid like $1 billion a year because they're claiming they're putting their life on the line, so they should have no cap. They should have no cap on their income, and they should get paid like an unlimited amount of money. I think that's ludicrous. Like I said, guys, police officers, loggers, firemen, you know, all of these different professions, military servicemen, their life is way more at risk than a football player's life. Way more at risk. Football players, yeah, they get injuries. You know, they tear their ACL, they tear Achilles tendons, back problems, neck problems. They get all of that stuff, but very seldom does a football player actually suffer life threatening injuries during the course of a game, whether it be a high school game, a college game, or a pro game. It just doesn't happen very often. And again, when it does happen, it's usually not even related to football. Usually. It's not even connected to the sport. It just so happens to be that it happens during a game. Just so happened to be he was playing a football game and he died. And he, well, I shouldn't say died. He went into cardiac arrest. I guess he was Damar. I mean, technically, he was what? Clinically dead for, I think, 8 to 9 minutes, I believe, until they got his heart pumping again. So, and again, like I said, I definitely felt horrible for Damar. This is definitely not anything against him or his family or his fans or any of his friends, supporters. This is more targeted towards the mainstream pundits, you know, the guys like Ryan Clark on ESPN, those types of guys. You know, these guys, I don't know. They're just, and you know, one last thing before I call this a video. The sad thing is a lot of these guys, like for these mainstream networks that are so soft when it comes to like the words that they choose, you know, they choose their words carefully. The sad thing is they're so soft and they're so afraid to say anything because they're so afraid to speak their opinion because Twitter, you know, Instagram, YouTube, all these social media outlets will crucify these people if they speak their mind. And they say, hey, this injury had nothing to do with the sport of football. It just happened to be a bad timing for Damar Hamlin. If they were to say something like that, they would risk probably losing their job at ESPN. They would probably risk, obviously, losing a lot of money. And so they have to say the politically correct thing. They have to be PC. They have to be politically correct. And, you know, I just think it's a shame because I know, I mean, I'm 36 years old, and when I was growing up watching, you know, all types of sports and on ESPN and all the other major networks, they used to have great debates on those networks where they would literally just debate with their heart. There was none of this scripted crap like, oh, we can't say this, we can't say that, we got to be careful how we word this. It was just straight from the heart. And it was fun debates, fun conversation to listen to, and but nowadays, you know, these people can't even speak their mind anymore because they're afraid of being, you know, basically blacklisted, blackballed, whatever you want to call it. So, you know, and I just think that's a shame. I really think that's a shame because I mean, it takes away the entertainment. It takes away the entertainment, and I mean, I could only hope and keep my fingers crossed that maybe eventually our society will go back to being how things used to be, you know, 20, 25 years ago when these guys were not afraid to, they didn't hold punches back. You know, they spoke their mind. It was basically uncensored. And I think those were really good times. I think, you know, I think we need to be more uncensored, less politically correct. I think we need to be more just honest people. Honest people. Speak your mind. Obviously, there's always going to be a limit. Like, for example, I would never walk up to, you know, my boss at my job, you know, and say, hey, you're a total B, you know, you're a total whatever, you know. I would, you know, anything vulgar. But at the same time, you still should be true to yourself, especially when you're having a friendly, fun debate, especially over sports or something like that, or entertainment. you should be able to speak your mind and be free about it and not worry, oh my God, I'm going to get canceled because I said something that wasn't politically correct. Oh man, I could go on and on and on, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to. Oh man. Okay, guys. I don't even know what I'm going to title this video. I want to pay respect to Damar Hamlin. I mean, the dude is still in critical condition, but yet I'm also talking about politically correctness and like how people are taking advantage of this whole story. So I don't even know what I'm going to title this video. I guess you guys will find out what it's titled when it comes out. Anyways, guys, I'm going to call this a video. I'm not sure if I'm going to do any more videos tonight, or maybe tomorrow. We'll see. You guys all stay safe out there, and enjoy this new year, and peace out, everybody.